1 p.m. Eastern. So I encourage you, if you find value here today, that you come join me in the comments. Every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, this particularly if you are a supernatural being. Our focus is melanin folk and Black people. And yet, if you are not Black and you are drawn here, yes, you are welcome. I get DMs and, I'm white, but this is hitting my soul. Every time you post, can I? The answer is yes, you may lean in, you are welcome into our programs, etc. And so the content that I share here is to connect with those of you who are ready to come out of hiding. And that's so what you experience here, whether it's here on YouTube or if you come across our content anywhere, that you will then go on to the next level, whatever you decide is the next level for you, whether it's something we have that's more introductory for you, something that's more advanced. And so that's what I'm here for, and sharing with you, typically on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's the calendar. So you can come back into the comments, ask me questions, we can connect. And I'm sharing all kinds of content around you coming into power, coming out of hiding and fear, telling the truth about who you are, monetizing, finding what's distinct about your signature work, and then packaging that and bringing that out into the marketplace and committing to the long game and all the things. So that is what I am here for every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And today I am here because I have been moved by the passing of Bob Proctor. For those of you who don't know, Bob Proctor, depending on what circles you travel in, he is considered one of the godfathers of the personal development space. Okay. He was in the industry, I'm going to say about 6 decades. He died at 87. He died today. And I found out about it on Facebook and caused me pause. It caused me pause. And so today I'd like to talk about why are you here? Why are you here? What's your purpose? What's meaningful for you? I know this might not be the ideal time on a beautiful Friday afternoon, at least here in California, it's very beautiful today, but I was moved and it's relevant. And so as you're watching this as a replay, I invite your words in the comments. So I'd like to take a moment to just honor some of the men, particularly Bob Proctor and Jim Rohn, whose words and teachings directly influenced my life, starting at around 2002, 20 years ago. It's just so beautiful. And at the time, I was in college and I was married at the time and I just didn't know what I was going to do with my life after graduation. And I was talking to my husband at the time about, but I just don't know what I'm going to do, and etc. And he had a friend who had a girlfriend who was in network marketing. And I had never heard of network marketing. I had never heard of the personal growth space, but he told me about it. And I decided to go to like an introductory meeting they were having. And signed up. And network marketing is sales at the end of the day. Great products, yes. Transforming people's lives, yes. And you're selling. It's sales, sales, sales. And I actually did well rapidly there. And eventually ended up moving on to the next phase of my career. But in any kind of sales role, even for those who work in the corporate space, anybody who's in sales knows that it's a head game, that, constant nurturing of your mind is important with positive thoughts and positive expectation. And it just comes with the territory. And so men like Jim Rohn and Bob Proctor and so many men, books that many of you guys have heard, like As a Man Thinketh and Think and Grow Rich, and oh God, there's so many. The Zig Ziglars, these are popular names, white men who are deceased. Jim Rohn died in the 90s, I think. Did he? Correct me if I'm incorrect. If not the 90s, I think the early 2000s. Bob Proctor died today. Zig Ziglar, I don't know when he died, but he's deceased. And the only Black male face, well, a famous one, there are other ones who are not so famous, but the one Black male face is Les Brown. Many of you have probably heard of him, and he's up there. He's maybe 70 something. So he has a lot of life in him, but you just never know, because what's going on with people's health and things, and life happens. And anyway, so during this time when I was, new to sales, I was new to it in this way. It's direct sales. It's lots of, I think the best thing about network marketing is who you become in order to become successful in network marketing, because it requires that you confront so much of your programming around who you are, people, dealing with everybody's like core biology issues of rejection and sales and confidence and self-esteem. It touches those things. And so in order to really succeed there, you're required to develop your internal faculties. And they would have us like universities, like they would be, turn your car into a driving university. Like that was the teaching. So back then it was tapes, right? This was before DVDs got hot. And that's cassettes. It was like every personal development / motivational teacher had a cassette, system, and a DVD system. Not a DVD, but some kind of cassette system. And that's what we would do. And we would go prospecting, because we would hit the streets. This was like raw, for real sales. There was no hiding. There was no YouTube. You were in the streets, man. You were going to the mall. You were going to social events, networking events. This is like for real, door-to-door sales, These kids today. Anyway, so in order to do that, you gotta have the head together. So they would, we would meet in the mornings, like a rah-rah, coming together, getting your head together, get ready, go hit the streets. And they would have us listen to these men: Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor. And we had never heard of these men. This is our first introduction to these men. And like, just certain things stick out in my head, because there's so much disappointment in any business, any endeavor that's worthy. There's just so many disappointments. And one of the big things that Jim Rohn used to always say in his talks that is with me today, and I still apply it when something happens that's disappointing: Naima, you got to discipline. You got to discipline your disappointments. You got to discipline your disappointments, Naima. You got to discipline your disappointments. And Bob Proctor was always saying, you can have it all. You can have it all. It was, gosh, and to be like 22 at the time. What was I, like 22, 23 at the time? Yeah, something like that. You can have it all. You can have it all. And then in going about sharing with you the thinking that's required to have it all. And, just those men were so much a part of my development in such important times in a woman's career, like early 20s, and it just really held me through. And like, I would like listen to them before I was going to sleep. And it just helped me endure through so many disappointments. And I remember one time I was trying to hit a goal. Oh my God, I was trying to hit a goal. And I was in a prepaid legal. Wait, was it called prepaid legal at the time? Yeah, I think it was called prepaid legal. Yeah, then it turned to Legal Shield, right? I was in prepaid legal. And we had a conference. I forgot where it was, some Midwestern or Southern state. And you needed to reach certain numbers to be able to be honored at this conference. And boom, I got myself into gear. And um, we had a deadline, and a deadline came and I was close, but I didn't make it. And what had happened was they actually, see, this is psychology right here. What they actually did was they told us a fake date, a fake deadline to get us to work toward that. And then when we got there and we were like disappointed, it was like, damn, we just needed more time. They were like, no, actually the deadline is in 48 hours. Girl, do you know the level of, see, so what happened was on a psychological level is that I thought that was it. Like we reached the deadline. I did my best, which I did, fuck, and I didn't make it, but it was like the fire was there. So psychologically, when I was like, oh God, I have more time to do it, the engine was already hot, right? That was a psychological play that they played on us, and it was fucking amazing. Because when I tell you I bulldozed the fuck, when I tell you, and I reached the goal, and we went to this conference with like thousands and thousands of people. And I was one of the people that got to get up on stage. I was like 23 at the time. Got up on the stage, and shared the success. And it was like amazing. And it was like one of my first times where I felt like adrenaline excitement around what it feels when you struggle, struggle, work hard, and the work happening in here. Yeah, there was definitely external work, but what helped me move through the external work is what was going on up here that was being fed constantly through Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, and we were listening to the tapes, and we would have mastermind meetings or just meetings throughout the week, and we would bring other people in because recruitment, and constantly like motivating, constantly encouraging, constantly. And then, as with all things, there's always 20% of the people who produce the most work. And I was part of the 20%. Me and the crew who was the 20%, we knew we were the 20%. So we held each other accountable. We prospected together. We checked in on each other's numbers. We competed with each other. There was this vortex in the group, and it was like, and we were all young and hungry and going. And these men's words, the inspiration, and just really practical ways of thinking helped us get through. And so to know that these men have touched so many lives throughout the world, because these men's careers, they would travel and speak, before it was popular to be a life coach and a speaker, and social media came along. These men were all over the world, all over the world, serving and speaking and encouraging and leading masterminds and workshops and selling tapes when tapes were hot, and then selling DVDs when DVDs got hot, and then going digital when digital got hot. And I know so much of the work and how long these men have been around, and the big thinking that was required for them to do what they did, and the persistence that was required for them to do what they did. I know Jim Rohn was in Herbalife for a long time, and he was actually worth $500,000 when he died. At least that's what the internet says. And Lord knows what Bob Proctor is worth. And Bob Proctor, who I think was a married man, pretty sure it was a married man, partnered up with Cindy Gallagher 15 years ago. And they partnered to create the Proctor Gallagher Institute, that they worked together knowing that they were doing something bigger than them that would last beyond their mortal life. And so with that, right? The birth of that and the coming together, Okay. Oh, wow. What a life. What a life. I just honor those men. Before I go on, let me just take a minute to really honor those men and all the men and women who give their lives to helping people for decades, for decades. Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor for 60 years, 60 years, 60 years of one's life. You can go on YouTube, you see 60 years, you see him young and you see him old and gosh, with the same fire, passion. And there's been so much partnership for them to make that happen and for him and Cindy to create the Institute. And so that brings me to the question I'd like for you to answer for yourself and to at least begin to consider. This is really big right now. I'm 42 years old. I'll be 43 in March. I'm 42, I'll be 43 in March. And I plan that the rest of my life will be in service to people, and particularly Black people, in a very distinct way. It's our headspace that requires radical correction, our headspace. And I'm watching other leaders, teachers, coaches, healers on the internet talking about us coming together and unity that's required, and masterminds, and what's needed in the Black community. I hear this a lot, the Black community, what's needed in the Black community. But I see what looks to be everyone is working in a silo. He's over there doing his YouTube videos. She's over there doing her YouTube videos and podcasts and tarot readings. He's over there doing his video show and having guests on his video show. She's over there, with her healing center doing whatever she's doing. He's over there telling people on the internet what Black people need, and etc. Where does the actual coming together begin? Have you tapped into the real reason why you're here? Like the real reason. Okay, for those of you who, maybe you've been working in a silo, maybe you do have it deep in your heart to serve in a really big way. And when I say big, I mean impactful, like large numbers of people. Like you really know that you're meant to see and experience and feel your impact in the world in a substantial way. And I know that that's not going to happen, me over here in my silo on YouTube. It's not going to happen, even me developing myself, hiring a wonderful team, and doing all the right things. It's not going to happen. It's going to happen when two or more come together. Two or more. But it can start with two. Have you tapped into what's bigger than you? What I've found, like, I'm so compelled, I could cry. I'm so passionate. And I've been asking myself, who is the person that I'm meant to partner with? Really partner with. I mean, like on some long, like Bob and Cindy partnering. 15 years ago, they partnered. When they did that, they knew that this work would outlast their life. They knew this was meant to have an impact beyond their life. That was the agreement and the condition under which they partnered. I'm looking for that kind of partnership, and with me and who I am to partner with, and others who are in the Black community. I see what just looks like a lot of talk. And to really, at least in my inner experience, what I experience of myself, when I have conversations with myself and I tap into myself and I look at the great lengths that I'm willing to go. Who else is willing to go to great lengths with me? And me go to great lengths with them. to do deeply impactful work in this life. But the life that we have left, like, we're gonna die. Guaranteed. Not negotiable. I'm gonna have a last day on earth. I'm gonna have a last month on earth, and so are you. Everybody who is alive now, they will have their last year on earth. Whether they know it or not, they're gonna have their last month. And I'm so hungry and willing to endure. I'm willing to do what it takes. Are you? Have you questioned yourself deeply and answered yourself? Have you challenged yourself? Jim Rohn used to always say, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. I remember I said that to one of my friends years ago, and she was like, you really believe that? Yeah, I do. How many times has something been hard? I mean, real hard. That in order for you to achieve that, you had to, oh my God, you had to suffer. I was watching David Goggins this morning. He was like, when you suffer, and the way he said it, I knew what he meant. David Goggins is a Navy SEAL Black man who talks about how much he pitied himself and how much he thought he was the shit and he wasn't shit mentally, and the depths and the suffering that he had to endure to actually become great. And he said, when you suffer, he said, I mean, really suffer, and you get your mind and your body in harmony, you are gonna blow. He said, you're gonna be a badass motherfucker. Maybe you know David Goggins, look him up. And have you challenged, like, see, you don't know who you are. A lot of us, we just, in our minds, when we like at home with our feet up, we just think, well, depending on who you are, you think you're willing, I can, I will, I know I can, I know I can. And then you just get one good challenge, get one horrible day, one horrible week, one horrible year. And you're like, gosh, I'm not willing to suffer like that. Have you dug to find what you will suffer for? I was watching Michael Jordan the other day, and I saved this. It's a reel. It was a reel of his actual face and voice on Instagram, and I saved it. And he was crying, and he was talking to an audience, and he was like, the thing about passion, it's real, man. It's so real. Real passion, like you really tap into why you're here, why you're here. Like, why do you breathe? Why are you here? And you've really gotten into your heart, and you've really tested yourself. You've really been tested for real. You've tested where it really matters to you. You've been tested in your family. You've been tested with, if you're willing to move, are you willing to invest yourself, your heart, your soul, your money, your time? Are you willing to travel for it, or does it need to come to you? Have you been tested? And Michael Jordan said the thing, and he got like snot or tears. And he's like, the thing about passion is that when you're really passionate about something, he said, you'll crawl for it. He said, you'll beg for it. He said, when you're really passionate, what he means is, or at least how I heard it, was that when you really know why you're here and you are fucking dead serious, you don't need no convenience, you don't need no concessions, you like this, that kind of passion. Like, that's the kind of partner I want. That's the kind of partner I need. That's it. Like, to really do in this world, especially how things are now, veils have dropped. The children don't give a fuck. They want the truth. The children don't give a fuck, especially if they are specific seeds. They not fucking around, okay? It's just like, you can't, it's like, you gotta be clear. You gotta know who you are. You gotta be telling the truth. Otherwise, you will be fucking swallowed. Like, lay the fuck down and just scroll Instagram aimlessly and eat yourself into obesity. Like, that's where we are now. And I've been challenged. God, you guys have heard some of my stories on here, and that barely touches the surface of some of the suffering I have endured and the ways that I've been tested and some of the dark places that I have been within myself. Why are you here? What are you going to do before you go? What's important for you to have, do, or be before you die? Who is needed? Who is needed in your life for you to do what you came for? So for those of you who are here with me right now, what do you have to say about this? So I'm only on YouTube right now, and I'm looking over here because I got my computer set up. Anybody have anything you want to ask me, or things you want to say, like what questions need to be asked? What do you need? We're so separate. We're so scared. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how scared you are. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I mean, welcome to Earth, you know? And you can move even with your fear. You can dig inside yourself and ask yourself some questions. Why am I here? What's really important to me? Or how about, I'm not willing to endure. I'm not willing, like, I haven't found what is in me that's important enough. I actually gave up 10 years ago, and I just like to distract myself with amazing things online, like tell the truth, right? But if you know, I call forth your greatness. I call forth that spark in you, that mustard seed of knowing. I can cut through all the clutter. I can cut through all the voices. Oh, God, it's so many, right? Your email inbox, TikTok, your personal life, and all your responsibilities in your personal life. That you have a moment of clarity. It cuts through the noise. You can see clearly that this is what you will fight for. This is what you will endure for. The true kingdom work, for real. That you won't let any stories, that you will question every way that up till now you have defended your limitations. Is it true, the limitations you've been defending? Is it true? There's been so many limitations I've had in my life that I was convicted were true. I talked about it, I think, in the last show, where I was actually believed I couldn't afford Saint Tropez. I believed it. I don't have the money. Look, obviously I can't go. Like, defending a limitation. It was a lie. When you defend your limitations, especially when you defend them emphatically, you energize your limitations. You energize it. You give it more strength and power over you. Today, I invite you to challenge the limitations that you hold dear. Because I can't do this because this will happen. I can't say this. I had a woman powerful woman tell me in a private conversation about 3 days ago. If I talk about the things that I know about sexual power online, people will think I'm crazy. And she feels justified in keeping that quiet. Where are you defending your limitations? I challenge you to look at why you stay separate. Why haven't you reached out to that person who you think is amazing? Why haven't you reached out to that teacher, that leader, that healer, that person who you would like to have a conversation with, partner with, that you're not sure, but you just get a feeling about, and that a conversation alone, you could just have a conversation. You and that person could just have a conversation and see if there's work to do. If you guys want to have another conversation after that conversation, if you guys want to travel to each other. Why are you here? And are you going to get there doing things as you're currently doing them? What's your biggest dream? What's the dream that really compels you, that moves you, that you know you're here for? What's the thing that's passionate for you? One place to go, because I know a lot of women are numb right now. See, a lot of people don't know how to interpret depression. Underneath depression is anger. Okay, let's just do some very quick dissection. Underneath depression is a stagnation of emotions. Psychology for you. Depression is a stagnation of emotions. Typically, when you start chipping away at depression, underneath it is anger. Underneath anger is sadness. Underneath sadness is longing. And underneath longing is desire. That's the anatomy of depression. Most people look at depression, and I keep hearing people talk about, folks love to talk about Black women, or to podcasts about Black women and the state of Black women and why is all these single Black women, and it's men, it's just so many men. How many Black women hearts do you know? How many Black women hearts do you know? I'm going to tell you why so many Black women are single. We're waking up in droves. You know how many Black women have tolerated the men? They lowered themselves to be with the men in their lives. Lowered themselves. Because society, because men like you talking shit about them on the internet, because fill in the blank. Everybody got something to say about Black women. Don't even intimately know many Black women, but got so much to say. Got podcasts with sponsors talking about Black women. Black women, many of them are supernatural beings who have pretended to be something that they're not for decades, and they're waking up and their fucking brains is on fire. Their hearts is on fire, their pussy is on fire, and they don't have nowhere to go with it because the world don't understand. Depression is stagnant emotions. So these Black women with all this power and energy going, moving all over the place, they don't have nowhere to go with it. So they stagnate, but don't nobody know they suffering but them. And you motherfuckers just out here talking about because they don't want to submit to Black men. Yeah, the Black men who they did submit to, who dried them out. Black men who can't see straight. That's a whole, you see what I mean? With these difficult emotions that we have, this is why I said in the beginning of this video, we need a radical transformation of the mind. It's just so off, so off. It's so off. We are distracted by the poor man's game. Racism is a poor man's game. Racism is we cannot be out here talking about racism. Like, you're distracted. Racism is a creation of white people. You're distracted. We cannot be out here talking about racism and what white people did and all that. We cannot. Now, does racism exist? Yes. When you come to know who you are, you transcend all that. You transcend it. In order to really start operating in a radical transformation of the mind, you got to find what's bigger than you. Why are you here? The why are you here is the thing that's bigger than you. Why are you here is what's bigger than you. Then you can move past, you can be in the face of racism and it doesn't stop you. It's not like how we just have these strong emotions that become bigger than us. These fears, like scared of each other, scared of real power. Oh, scared of real power. Knowing who you are is real power. Being integrated is real power. And I'm hearing people talk about the importance of integration and knowing who you are. But I know who I am, and people are fucking scared of me. Like, we love to talk about this shit. It's like we love to talk and be all metaphysical and integration. When you're integrated, you're scared of nothing. And even if there's like feelings that are perceived as fear, nothing stops you. Nothing. And still, I'm limited with just me. I'm limited with just me. 2 or more is required. 2 or more. Same with you. 2 or more who are of like minds, who are willing to endure, who are willing to suffer together, who are willing to think big together. I am known for having very inflated beliefs in what's possible. Very inflated. And it sounds good, but gosh, when you partner with somebody who's not like-minded, people who's, because this has happened to me. I told you guys about the woman in the Netherlands. Like, I had just like this inflated belief of what's possible. And I'm like, let's go on tour. And it was like 8 cities. Inflated belief in what's possible. Like, I'm willing to invest the time, the money, the travel, the all of it. I messaged this Black man. I'm not gonna out him, but he's online marketing himself as a teacher and, you know, as a supernatural being who is, you know, connected to the gods, connected to the demons, and, you know, all entities, and that he's powerful and he has information and he willing to die for this shit and all of it. And listen, I'll take you for your word because I expect you to take me at mine. And also, I'm ready to partner with somebody who also has an inflated belief in what's possible. And we can temper it where need be, obviously. We can temper it where need be. And so we actually spoke some years ago when I was in the mountains of Italy. And I could see where it was like, okay, no. So I messaged him again, like maybe about 2 months ago. And I was like, you know, basically a condensed version of what I've said to you here today about 2 or more is necessary. And um, and he's in another state. And I said, let's just get together and have a meal. I said, so am I flying to you or are you flying here? Like, I'm willing to, we can have a conversation. When you're passionate and you know who you are, you're tapped into why you're here. Like Michael Jordan said, you will crawl. You will beg. He will go. He said, you will keep going. You will figure it out. You will figure it out. Very liberating to be in that place. And there's also lots, and you're willing to pay every price. Oh my God, you're willing to pay every price. You don't care about embarrassment and pride and needing to be right. And a lot of people look at me and they I told you guys arrogant is a counterintuitive approach. I did that for offense, and it's a screening. But true arrogance, in true arrogance, you will submit yourself to people who others think are beneath you. People look at me, and it's also an indicator of somebody's sight for me. A person's sight is really important to me, because there's lots of visuals. There's lots of voices. There's lots of things that really look a certain way. Like it looks like it sounds like it walks like it, and it's not it. And this is why the fine distinction, talked about the fine distinction, i.e. the narrow, like it's so, to most people, insignificant. It's insignificant. That 1%, people are like, human beings are 99% the same. The 1% is the only thing that makes us different. Do you know how significant that 1% is? Most people don't care about the 1%. Yes, it's great to know the 99% that makes us the same, but that 1% that makes us different is where lots of matter, scientifically speaking, lots of matter is. So I'm not stopped by embarrassment. I will submit myself wherever is necessary to reach the goal, to move forward the vision. I don't care about how much it costs. I don't care where I have to travel. I don't care about ego things, needing to be right. Yes, I like all the, all this. Yes, I like all this. And this is a part of a genuine desire. It's not because whatever. It's not because of whatever else. It's because I genuinely, like, this is a joy for me. I got shoulder pads on this thing. Y'all see that? They keep sliding, even though they're attached to the top. I love this top. Look at these colors. Look, beautiful. This is fun for me. Look, this is fun. And still nothing gets in the way of me, nothing. So today, when I was shedding a tear after sitting alone and considering the death of Bob Proctor, and like, wow, he's gone. And his legacy lives on through his work, obviously, through the Gallagher, Proctor Gallagher Institute that will continue teaching, through his students, through all the content he's produced over 6 decades. Wow. And just the massive legend and what he's left behind, and like, who's next, right? And the beauty of it all, and the possibility of it all, and what's here for us now, for those of us who are still breathing. And I was asking myself, Naima, what's required of you? Who's your partner? Who am I to be? I've been sitting with some version of this question the last month or so, in different ways, because I've seen my limitations of working in my own silo. And who is the being? Wow. Who is the being that I'm to partner with? And what magic we will create. Oh my God. I'm looking to reach people all over the world. Black people in Sudan, Black people in China, Black people in small, obscure countries you ain't never even heard of. Little tiny islands around Beirut. Little tiny islands you've never heard of around the Red Sea and down there by Australia and Indonesia. Like, just touch people and spark folks to start correcting that radical correction of the mind. Here in America, we are so self-absorbed. There are people of color all over the world who are bound mentally. Bound mentally. Oh my God. And the work to be done, to just spark another human being. Like what it was like for me at 22 to hear Bob Proctor say, "You can have it all." It was the first time I'd heard somebody say, "You can have it all." And to never have thought that, and to have somebody say that to you, what if you heard that at 12? What if you heard that at 8? What if you started playing that in your house? You started telling your children that. You started playing DVDs and audios that your children were hearing at 8 years old, that you can have it all. You can create the life of your dreams. You can serve people. You can have a life of purpose. You can travel all over the world. You were made for glory. What if a little girl in Kenya started hearing that? Oh my God. What if? My God. Oh, there's so much work to do. We got to get out of our silos. Like, who is going to partner with me with an inflated belief in what's possible and is willing to act on that belief no matter what? Who is willing to endure? What is necessary for me? Is there something that I'm missing? Who is willing to struggle for greatness? Like, who is willing to die to ideas and personalities that's not getting us where we want to go? Who is he? He don't even have to be Black. He don't have to be Black. She don't have to be Black. Who is the person who is going to be a part of this true kingdom work? Who is ready to leave a legacy that they're ready to give their whole lives to lay themselves down? Who is ready? Who is ready to bring the future into now? Who is thinking about their deathbed and what's important for them to have accomplished before they die? Who has clear sight and can see me and say, this is my partner, or at least, how about this? Naima, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation, no matter where you are in the world. Do we need to get on Zoom? Do we need to get on WhatsApp? Do you want to fly here? Should I fly there? Do we want to sit down and have a meal together and look eye to eye, heart to heart? It's coming, I feel it. It's coming, I feel it. So much work to do. I think this might be the last thing and then I'll go. So I love to fly. I love being on planes and trains, and I particularly like being in trains in Europe, where, you get to see countrysides of different towns, obscure towns, and maybe hop off the train, just get on a train and see something and just hop off, I love, love, love that. And when I fly, I used to be a horrible flyer, like scared all the time. I remember the first time I flew internationally, I went to the doctor in advance and asked for pills to put me to sleep because I was just terrified of this. We're going over the ocean. Oh my God. That's how I was, right? Believe it or not, with as much flying as I do. And so basically turbulence was, I used to get on the plane and immediately request wine, and can I please have wine now? Or when you start service, please come to me first. I need wine to sedate myself. Like, that's who I was. And I'm well over that now. I've educated myself about how planes work and how it all works, like what makes planes go down and like all that. And now when there's really bad turbulence, and like really bad, not just a little shake, but where it's like bad, where you can see that the pilot is like trying to get it together and moving the plane around to get stabilized, or like the plane dips real hard, like when that kind of shit starts happening. And it's like, it's kind of like feeling like we might go down. Like when that happens, One of my barometers for how well I'm living on the pulse of life, this is a personal thing. One of the parameters for how well I'm living on the pulse of life is when that happens, and it's really kind of like literally it's so bad you can hear somebody like, ah, you can hear people like kind of whining on the plane. And I notice myself, like my heartbeat, and I say to myself, Naima, have you been living? This is what I do quietly to myself. Have you been doing what you came here? Like I'm in that moment when there's people kind of like maybe, because the turbulence is really bad and you feel the pilot trying to find a way, and it seems like everywhere he moves the plane, you feel him go down some feet and we still are, and you feel him go up and the plane, and it's almost feeling like he doesn't have control. And I'm looking at, have you been doing what you came here for? See, it's nothing like death to make you think hard and for real. This is why I love living on my deathbed now. I love living on my deathbed now because it makes me really think critically and seriously. So it's like, yeah. It's something that maybe I kind of like is in the subconscious. Okay, subconscious is different from the like subconscious is just something you put out of immediate view. So it's not repressed, it's just like on the side. Subconscious stuff will come up. Oh, this is important. Oh, that's right. This is, or I might be like, yeah. And I'll just deep breathe, like, it's time to go. It's time to go. I have done well. I'm proud with what I've done thus far. Yes, there's more I could do. And I'm proud of what I've done thus far. I've done my best. If it's time to go, let's go. So in closing, I invite you to consider your deathbed today. Imagine what your last year on earth will be like. Like, do you already know about how old you'll be when you die? Have you based that on when your parents pass or when your grandparents pass? Do you have an idea of when you'll die? Imagine your last year on earth. You're not going to be as physically agile as you are now. You will have lived probably some decades more, right? If you're lucky. I was on a 13-hour flight to, where did we go? I think Spain, Portugal, yeah. And I was sitting next to a 73-year-old woman. This is last year. And she started talking. It was a great conversation. You know, you just get lucky with those great partners for a long flight. And it was a two-seat, it was just she and I, two-seat situation. And oh God, it was just such a joyful partner. You know how that is. And as we were taxiing real fast down the runway, you know, we had already started conversating before the plane took off. And there's something about when you're sitting next to somebody and both of you know you're going to be sitting next to each other for like 10 hours or more. There's a kind of way that you relax into each other because you know, like, this is my partner. And you know that. And my mom said, yeah, you kind of know if the plane goes down, this is the last person. Yeah, there's some of that too going on in the back of your mind. And we were taxiing down the runway. Cindy, I think her name was. We were taxiing down the runway and I put my hand on her leg and I said, well, looks like it's going to be me and you for the next 13 hours. And she was like, what secrets are we going to tell? That tells you right there, you got a good partner for the next 13 hours, right? And she was that. I mean, like, we really looked out for each other and it was just so delightful and everything. And during our conversation, this is a 73-year-old woman who's on a 13-hour flight by herself. Come on now. Come on. Who's going to see her friend in Portugal. Okay. And she flew up from Southern California because she wanted this flight and this airline and all this. And she started asking me about finances. Like, are you getting your money together? She was like talking like a mentor, maybe like a grandmother, like an elder. She's like, are you are you preparing yourself for old age, basically? And she said something in a way that you can only say it if you're 73, only when you get there. See, I'm talking about it right now, but she was there, 73. And it's not even what she said, it was the way she said it. You know, when something just rings as, because I know this, because I am here. She said, because if you're lucky, you're going to get here. It's the way she said it. If you're lucky, you're going to get here. She was a fucking amazing. I actually regretted not getting her number. And so I present this to you to deeply, deeply consider today. Turn off all your lights or really go inside yourself and consider your last year, your last 5 years on earth, and what is important for you to experience or to create, or the impact before you go. What is important? Because you're going to be at a different energy level at 73, if you're lucky enough to get there. 83, 93. What are you willing to fight for, to endure for, to suffer through? To, as T.D. Jakes says, give your whole self to. That's what I'm ready for. In a whole new way, with the right person. In a whole new way. My God, my God, you have so much in you. As David Goggins was saying, we have so much in us that when we just really go for it and we're willing to suffer, and he said, and I mean really suffer. He said, and you get your brain and your body on board. You partnered with the right person. No matter what. No matter what. Oh God. That feels like such a blessing to me. That feels like such an honor. That feels like such a worthy life. Because I'm telling you, in my story, I am so fulfilled in my last days. I am so fulfilled. I'm rocking, my legs are crossed, and I'm old, and I'm just so deeply, personally, internally fulfilled. Because I did give my whole self to the thing. My whole self. That's what makes it worth being here. Worth waking up and getting out of bed and getting dressed and investing myself. Investing my tender, large heart. Investing my muscles and my energy and my mental thoughts and all the faculties that it takes to be human. Why are you here? Consider that deeply today. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern.